Hello, I'm Mash,
And I'm Matthew.
and this is CMM News. President Trump on Wednesday formally recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, reversing nearly 7 decades of American foreign policy and setting in motion a plan to move the United States Embassy from Tel Aviv to the fiercely contested Holy City. The president cast his decision as a break with decades of failed policy on Jerusalem.
To relocate the American embassy to Jerusalem and to recognize that that city, and so importantly, is Israel's capital,
which the United States, along with virtually every other nation in the world, has declined to recognize as the capital since Israel's founding in 1948. That policy, he said, brought us no closer to a lasting peace agreement between Israel and the Palestinians. Recognizing Jerusalem, he added, was a long overdue step to advance the peace process. President Trump's attempts at brokering a deal between the Israelis and the Palestinians is evidently unsuccessful, however, with many anti-Semites turning to Twitter to express their hate for the Moses-worshipping people. Like these comments saying that hashtag Hitler was right.
Not only are Islamic terrorists going up, but so is Bitcoin. Bitcoin hit an all-time high recently, with one Bitcoin costing around $19,000. This is a massive influx since last month it peaked at around 8,000 and costing only 8 cents when it was first created. Transactions are made with no middlemen, meaning no banks. Bitcoin can be used to book hotels on Expedia, shop for furniture on Overstock, and buy Xbox games. But much of the hype is about getting rich by trading it. Bitcoin can be used to buy merchandise anonymously. In addition, international payments are easy and cheap because Bitcoins are not tied to any country or subjects to regulation. Small businesses may like them because there are no credit card fees.
In September of 1997, 3 Hamas suicide bombers blew themselves up in a crowded area in Jerusalem. Among the injured were 8 U.S. citizens who consequently filed a lawsuit against the Islamic Republic of Iran for its role in providing material support for these attackers. Why is this important, you may ask? Well, recently a case was argued in the Supreme Court where a district judge in D.C. entered a $71.5 million default judgment against Iran, which Iran did not pay. The plaintiffs then litigated numerous cases across the country in an attempt to attach and execute on Iranian assets to satisfy the judgment. The case at hand involves 4 collections of ancient Persian artifacts with the possession of the University of Chicago and Chicago's Field Museum of Natural History. With few exceptions, a foreign state's property in the United States is immune from attachment and execution. However, the plaintiffs claim that since Iran has had affiliations in terrorism against the United States, they are subject to paying the fine no matter what. This caused more tension between the US and Iran, which has existed for decades.
Now, last year, LAUSD was approved a renewed budget of $7.6 billion. With about $17 million going to sports programs, where's the rest of the money going? Despite the budget's additional $700 million, officials warned against expecting to see sweeping benefits in the classroom. The LAUSD's infamous tactics of sweeping money under the rug has become even more of an issue, with around $450 million unaccounted for in the past year. There has been controversy recently on whether or not the sports teams and other extracurricular activities should acquire added funds, and without the proper hierarchy, corruption in the local government is inevitable.
Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi of Iraq declared victory over the Islamic State on Saturday, announcing the end of more than 3 years of battles to regain control over nearly 1/3 of the country that had been under the terrorist group's dominion.
It's crazy.
The Iraqi military said that it has fully liberated all of Iraq's territories of ISIS terrorist gangs and retaken full control of the Iraqi-Syrian border. It has been estimated that around 3.2 million people have been displaced and around 66,000 have been martyred in the fight against the Islamic State. Although the Daesh have been pushed out of Iraq, the threat of radical Islam still remains, with 13% of Muslims approving Sharia law and ultimately the actions of the Islamic State.
The Senate has just approved the largest change to the U.S. tax code in 30 years. Lowering taxes for American businessmen and families is in the heart of the President Trump's plan to boost the economy. although not everyone gets a tax cut in this plan. The Tax Cut and Jobs Act is more than a tax bill. It makes sweeping changes to health care that are expected to lead to 13 million Americans dropping insurance, and it opens up more land to oil drilling in Alaska. It also alters the treatment of state and local taxes, which could affect local government budgets for schools and roads. The Senate bill doubles the amount teachers are able to deduct for buying supplies for their classrooms. The current amount is $250. The Senate plans to raise it to $500.
Let's go to Andre. Andrizzle.
Thank you, Mash. All right, so here at Newport Beach, it's pretty cold. At Lancaster, it's pretty warm. Woodland Hills, it's also pretty warm. All right, thank you.
I'm joining you today from Iraq, where ISIS troops are retreating across the border. In the background, you can see some minor skirmishes still occurring between some U.S. troops and ISIS terrorists. Thank you.
Bitcoin can be used both... Right. What the What the
Would you like to hear the joke of the day?
I would.
You would. Well, a house of cards is really fragile. Did you know that?
No?
Do you want to know why?
Sure.
Because one blow from a kid and it all comes tumbling down.